Feels good to be back. I really only have a couple.
Real quick, if you could spell your name.
Oh,
and address.
yes. My name is Justin Riddle, Justin Riddle. My address is 16422 Patrick Avenue. Got it? Awesome. We know why we do that these days because everybody thinks that it's some big deal, so we'll get beyond that. I see here, it looks like next level funding, next level learning funding for increased academic recovery opportunities, curriculum adoptions to ensure high quality instructional materials, and extracurricular funding for a more equitable student experience. What does that mean? Do we have a breakdown? Can we figure out what this new curriculum is? Because I'm going to present something here shortly that shows exactly what it is. But for purposes of this meeting, I want it on record that I'm asking for that curriculum. I've brought the questions. We're going to get an answer this year. It's been 2 years you've had to answer these questions. We want to know what this curriculum is, and we're going to find out really shortly here. So I'll leave it at that. It's good to see you all.
My name is Jaden McNabb, Jayden.
So anyway, that was your mom.
She was only there because she was helping me.
Yeah, I know.
And I'm only there because I realized what's
Jaden,
going on.
real quick. We need you to state your address. Sorry.
Somebody has to.
11753 Fowler Avenue.
You don't have to explain that to me, okay? And you have, again, I'm going to say it again, you have the right to go and voice your opinion, concerns, or whatever word you want to use. You have the right to do that. So does everybody else.
But so far, when I expressed them through email, they refused to respond. They called you guys. Then, when I went, yes, I've already been called by Steve at the Mental Health and Wellness Department of OPS.
Oh, yes.
Now,
okay.
Then I go out and they silence me. So two for two, I don't have the ability to speak.
Okay.
Then they shorten our speeches.
Can I tell you something?
Sure.
Can I tell you something about that?
Here's what's going on. They have an entire curriculum that they've got an entire set of teachers at separate schools that they're rolling out through the district that's entirely equity-based, that's based on the book, How to Be an Anti-Racist by Ibram X. Kendi, which I can tell you, if you've ever read it, it's an awful book. It's an absolute horrible racist autobiography. But the point is, this is why when we started playing the voices the other day, they realized I found these videos that they had. So what did they do? They locked them on YouTube right away. They took them off the district website, but it was too late because I already copied them. So what they're trying to do is implement this program that I can tell you has no foundation in law, has no end goal, there's no legislative purpose, it's racist against whites, it doesn't actually help anybody, and Oregon has just shown us that now that, they've implemented this plan, and gosh, they're not even going to require kids to understand math, science, technology, English, any of the basics to graduate, because that would be racist. And this is what they're trying to implement here, and they know it, which is why they refuse to talk about it. And so that's all we're going to do is stop that.
Here we've got a lovely group of people who are finished out this last year of training. They now have gone forward and are leading efforts throughout the school district through the avenue of the inclusion cohort. And so we want to give thanks to those individuals who I'm looking at this image is through a lens of critical race theory, right? And through critical race theory, we examine policy changes, specifically civil rights policies, by not just the social ramifications of change, which is what we typically think about when we think about civil rights, but we also look at them through the economic changes that manifest through these policy changes, right? And so two things, socially changed and economically changed. And additionally, with critical race theory, there's also an analysis of ownership of privilege, right? And specifically who owns privilege being tied to, in our society, people who Ta-Nehisi Coates characterizes as those that believe they are white. Okay, so, and social responsibility, as we've defined it, requires that we disrupt inequitable institutional and individual practices. I'm going to say that again. We must disrupt. It is required that we disrupt inequitable institutional and individual practices that exist in our school. And so my job as the Director of Equity and Diversity is to essentially
1 minute.
pull a Rothstein for Omaha Public Schools and look at what policies we've had that came about during the 1960s or 1950s that have held true in our school district, right? To maintain that inferiority of the others and the marginalized and the superiority of our white students.
30 seconds.
I have to go and now try to figure out, okay, how do we, first I got to find it in real estate practices and in our case in education, and you start recognizing when people talk about systemic racism to perpetuate white supremacy, that is a very real thing in so many different arenas of all of our lives.
Thank you.
Time.
Thank you for whatever that was. Next speaker, Justin Riddle.
My name's Justin Riddle. That's Justin Riddle, R-I-D-D-L-E, 16422 Patrick Avenue. Now, we do know what that is. That's Barry Thomas, the former Director of Equity and Diversity, talking about critical race theory, something you guys all kept saying wasn't going on in these schools, isn't it? So, I'm going to play another video, but I'm going to be back every single meeting playing videos like this until we make changes. And these are your people on audio. Oh, and your attorney told me I should say who they are. But I told him he might want to check with the officer and some of the other people who called me, because the officers call anyone who tries to object to critical race theory, and then people like Ms. Holman here get restraining orders. But we're going to take care of all that in the end because we're filing a lawsuit. But I digress.
I was one of the officers, yes.
Okay. And so you guys are with the Omaha Police Department?
Correct.
And you're,
Yes.
And so when you said that you had something to discuss with me as well, what is that?
So, I guess I'm sorry, you caught me. I've got a splitting headache. I don't even remember saying a statement to anybody today about that. But if I did, yeah, I would like to talk.
CPS has been called, you guys have been called, the health and wellness safety team of Omaha has been called in the last 24 months because they've brought up CRT or these types of issues. Because you and I both know that the fact that they silenced me at the board, the fact that they're pushing to get cops to go, search kids' house, high school kids' house. This is the school board.
That's not harassment.
What grounds did you have to ask to search his room? What grounds at all? What specifically?
That's a standard thing that we will do.
Just go search people's rooms.
Sir, harassment would be like demanding. I asked. That's all I did was ask.
Well, you have to ask. You can't demand. It's illegal. But even asking to search his room with no valid reason is harassment.
No, it's not.
What reason did you have to ask to search his room? What were you hoping to find?
We'll have to agree to disagree.
Okay, but what were you hoping to find?
I wasn't hoping to find anything.
So why would you be looking? What were you looking for? You can't just go search somebody's room without having something you're looking for. Isn't that the law?
No.
What's the law?
It's called consent of search.
And what would you be searching for?
Well, sir, this is getting way off.
I'm just asking. I'm seriously just asking. I'm trying to understand because when I talk to my attorney in the morning, I just need to understand what to tell him actually went on. And when he says, well, what was the reason for the search? And I say, well, he said there would be a big event or something big on Monday, and that was so pervasive they felt that the cops should go by and search his house. I don't want to say that to him, but this is what I'm hearing.
Well, there's nothing wrong with you saying that to him.
But is that fair?
Is what fair?
Was there something you were looking for?
Sir, that is a
Nope.
normal investigative technique when you are investigating potential threats.
And what was the potential threat?
That I'm not going to discuss at this time.
But apparently I'm involved because my name was brought up.
Yeah.
A lot of information there, huh? A lot of information there, huh? Bet you guys didn't know I had all that. I'm going to be bringing things.
1 minute.
Oh, I got lots of minutes. I'm going to be here every single time. So tonight was just a prelude to all the stuff I've got. Now, I'm going to tell the community this. If you can listen to that and think that I'm the one who's wrong, that's your problem, not mine. I'm here to protect our kids, and what did they do? They try to get you shut down by the cops because you disagree with thinking that every white person is a racist, which came straight out of Barry's mouth, and he was in charge. And he also
30
avoided
seconds.
the questions that I asked, didn't he? Well, I've sent them to your attorney. I've got a copy here. I expect answers. And I assure you that this is something that we will continue to press and build.